Hey, I'm Ben,
I'm Ram.
and welcome back to the One Piece vs. 4K podcast, where we compare the One Piece 4Kids anime to the Funimation dub, sometimes sub, and throw in comparisons to the manga. We're back today for episode 27 from the 4Kids side and episode 28 from the Funimation dub, sub / every other version. Yeah, but before we get into the episode, what's been going on with One Piece and what's been going on with you in general, Ram?
So, in terms of like the One Piece kind of world, this week was a bye week for the manga, so no chapter released this week. But the next chapter is going to be released this upcoming weekend, and it's going to be very exciting because of the mysterious character that was revealed in the manga. One of the characters from the past came back, and it's kind of throwing off everyone. So like I'm sure there are like theories about how it might be. I don't know. It might be just like in their head or whatever it is. Maybe it's like a person who came in temporarily. So excited to see who that is and how that's gonna like basically play out. So that's something we're looking forward to in the manga in the upcoming week. But in the anime, they actually did have an episode this week. The last week they had a bye. This week they had the episode, and it was really good. Like we're still in the flashbacks, where we're basically like following the Roger Pirates and their adventure and Whitebeard Pirates and their adventure and stuff. And it was like a really good episode this week, and it was very much dialogue heavy in this episode than action heavy. There was some action, but like it was very much very dialogue heavy, and they kind of kick off their adventure with the Roger Pirates. So yeah, and then so funny enough, like I haven't really like watched other animes. I've kind of been kind of on like a pause, I guess. Like I watched like the latest episodes of Attack on Titan that were released, and the manga is not going to come for another like 18 days or something. I think when I checked today, it was like the last chapter is like 18 days away. So yeah, I watched the anime and like I watched the 2 episodes in the Attack on Titan anime, and like they because they had to cancel the previous week's episode and they had to air this week, it kind of felt like this week was kind of centered on one character whose name I won't mention, because like I know you want to kind of like binge watch it with with Laura like probably later, so
Yeah.
I'll kind of like leave that. I'll kind of leave that out. But I think it was just one of those things that I don't think they intended to kind of have Sunday. I mean, they did kind of intend to have Sunday focused on this character because this episode was kind of dedicated to this character. But because of like the way the last episode was, it kind of feels like they're really going into this character. So it's like a nice little. It was nice to kind of watch back to back, and supposedly next week is the final episode of the anime, and I refuse to believe that because as I've stated plenty of times, the anime is so far behind on the manga. Like there is so much more stuff that happens that like I refuse to believe that like they're gonna wrap up this in just part one. They definitely have to do a part two. I I feel like if they do a movie, they would have to cut out a lot of parts, a lot of smaller details, which I don't know. Like if they did a movie for instead of like a part two, they did like a big movie for the final event. Like I feel like they would have to like cut in certain corners and stuff. So I prefer that when they do a part two for season four, that they actually dedicate like a bunch of episodes. They don't have to do the full 16, maybe 8, maybe even 8 episodes, or maybe up to 10. I don't know how they're going to pace it, but yeah, I could see them like do something like that. I think one movie to kind of wrap up the whole thing wouldn't do, like just because of the small details that they put in each chapter. But you know, we'll see what happens at the end, and you know, maybe they will find like a way to kind of wrap up everything in a movie. For all I know, so we'll have to see.
Yeah.
This movie, it definitely. man, I'm like having difficulty trying to see how they can wrap up this movie in an hour and a half. Maybe they will. Um, but besides that, like I did finish watching How I Met Your Mother because I was like rewatching the whole thing, and I finally finished that entire
So
show.
is this your second time through?
Yep, that's my second time through.
Nice.
So now I'm going to basically start and well, not start like I watched the first two seasons of New Girl, so I'll be watching basically from the third season on. I also caught up with The Boys. Um, it's a show on Amazon.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, and I watched the first three episodes of the second season, and it was because like they were releasing, I think like one episode or maybe like a batch of episodes every few weeks or something. And so I watched the first three episodes, and then like the next batch wasn't coming for a while, or the next wasn't coming for a while. So I stopped watching it. But like now, all the episodes came out, and so basically kind of binged watched that and completed that second season. Honestly, The Boys, top notch. It's really good. And one of the other things I did was so there's this famous Indian actor named Rajnikanth. He's really famous. Like I wanted to say that he was like really famous in like Tamil, but he's actually really famous around India. And the thing is, like what I've come to know is that he's actually very famous, kind of all around Asia, like even in like China and Japan and stuff. He did one American movie, not American. I wouldn't say it's like maybe it is an American movie, but it's like an English movie, an English language movie. Like they speak English all throughout the movie, and that was his sole English movie that he's ever done. And you know it's available on YouTube. And I got it, and I think like my mom's like a huge fan of him and stuff, so we were watching it. And the thing I didn't realize, and the thing no one realized, was that this movie was R-rated, and there were certain scenes where
Oh
I think my
God.
mom was very uncomfortable with. And like yeah, she also like doesn't like to watch kind of like violent slashing scenes anymore. I don't know what it is, but like yeah, she just doesn't like those scenes anymore. And yeah, so there was a lot of that as well as like female nudity in this show. And so yeah, they stopped watching it maybe like 15 minutes into the movie or something like that. And so I'll probably watch it sometime, um, like probably tomorrow or something.
Yeah.
To wrap up. But yeah, so I'm looking forward. The movie's called Bloodstone. If anybody wants to watch it, it's a movie. It's Rajnikanth's only English movie. But
Did it
yeah,
just come out?
no, I mean it came out in the late '80s, like 1988
Oh,
or
okay.
'87 or something like that.
Got it.
But yeah, what's been going on with you?
Yeah, uh so earlier last week, I got the vaccine, first dose,
Like,
so I'm excited for that. I only had like pain in my arm.
was the
Um,
pain because the microchip went in?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but you know what? Actually, I heard that Krispy Kreme is going to be giving free donuts every day for the rest of the year if you show that you have proof of your vaccine.
Ooh, nice.
Um, and I'm thinking that the donuts are gonna have like the SIM card for the 5G like inside of the donuts.
Mm,
So it's gonna
mm,
like activate it, you know? The SIM
yeah.
card is gonna go through your bloodstream and activate the data plan.
Yeah,
Um,
it's probably in the sugar. It's probably in the sugar that's like as we're consuming the donuts, it's gonna go into the sugar, and as we consume it, it's gonna go trigger.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
But no, I promise we're joking, guys.
yeah, we're definitely joking.
But yeah, I feel fine now. I wanted to say like yesterday, I maybe felt like a 1 out of 10, like as you know the pain scale. Um, Today I can finally pretty much like just starting like right now I can pretty much move my arm fine and with no pain. So that's good.
Mm.
Um, Other than that, this weekend I watched the Snyder Cut.
Oh, nice.
Um,
How was it?
yeah, I really enjoyed it. I honestly mainly wanted to watch it just because of the whole memes of everyone making a huge deal. Like, oh my god, it was going to be so much better. And I kind of doubted it. I'm just like, could it really be? But yeah, it was a lot better. I mean, but the whole thing, I'm thinking like, honestly, I don't think it would have ever worked in a theater because, like, really, you're gonna watch a 4-hour movie in a theater, you would have to have an intermission, I feel like.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, then again, the last Avengers movie was like 3 hours, over 3 hours, right?
Yeah, it
Or almost.
probably was. Yeah, it probably was
It
something
was
crazy.
long. But anyways, this is 4 hours, so this is even like longer. I mean, we finished it over the course of a couple days. One thing that was cool that I liked that they did do about it is they broke it into parts.
Mm,
So they said like part one, part two, part three. So like you can just they're really good points to stop at if you want to go back and finish it later.
okay.
Um,
It looks like Endgame was 3 hours, 2 minutes long.
Okay, yeah. So this was one whole extra hour longer. And it's
Yeah.
actually kind of funny too because like I feel like the original Watchmen was also long as hell too that Zack Snyder did. So he makes long ass movies.
So, like, I get that this movie is 4 hours long, but like, was that gonna be like was he gonna release that full 4 hour movie, or was
No,
he
and
gonna like cut it down?
no, and see that's what's kind of even stupider about it about them calling. So eventually they realized how stupid it was and they called it uh Zack Snyder's Justice League. So it's not really called the Snyder Cut.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what fans, deem the name should be. Um,
yeah.
because he kept saying, "Oh, my cut's better." I doubt it would have been that long if it would have really been in theaters.
Mhm.
But honestly, I think this was the best way to get the whole story out. Like
Yeah.
it was good. I mean, like there's nothing there is maybe a couple parts they could have trimmed or whatever. And there's a couple parts like you just felt like they were like trying to like stretch time. Um, I mean, for instance, like there was one whole scene with the Flash that was just like super long because it was like in slow mo.
Mm,
Um, but honestly, that scene was really good. Um, so the Flash's parts were way better than they were in the original. And then
mhm.
also Cyborg, he was like barely in the original, and he was like one of the main characters in this
Yeah,
version.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. Oh, okay, okay, yeah. Yeah. I get that he was main character in Justice League, but yeah, yeah. I did read that like they really like cut out like a lot of the key points in like Cyborg's story.
yeah, and they
Um,
changed actually the ending too. Well, in the Zack Snyder version, he changed the end, like a key thing that happened in Cyborg's story.
okay, okay, okay.
So
How
yeah,
long are they gonna keep it up on HBO Max?
oh, I think it'll be up on there for indefinitely. Honestly, for a good while.
Okay, yeah, because like the main reason I ask is like so this month, I'll be like unsubscribing from like some of my video services, so that next month I can like subscribe to Max and
Oh
watch.
yeah, it'll definitely be up on there then. I
Yeah.
mean, HBO paid for this pretty much, so
Oh, okay, okay, okay,
I
okay.
don't see it being taken down anytime soon.
I wish they would
Um,
put it on the DC like
you
universe
know that
app.
doesn't exist anymore, right? DC Universe app.
Oh, they destroyed
They
it.
rolled it into HBO Max.
So what about the people who already have like the DCEU?
That doesn't. I would think if they paid for it or whatever, they refunded it, but they've rolled it into the HBO Max.
Oh, okay, okay. Because like, so for me, like, I usually get like the year long one, which rounds out to about like I think $7 or $8 a month or something. And like like on there, I would watch like the old DC like cartoon shows, which were always
Hmm.
like top tier. I guess like since it's like been like a while since I do like a year, it's not something that I like check on like every day. Um, but yeah, I guess like it's been like a few months because like I just watched everything on there for the most part. So
Yeah. Yeah, but the new season of Titans and everything is only going to be on HBO Max. Like that thing is like going to, if it's still up, it's going to cease to exist soon. They're not adding anything else to it. They moved everything. Everything is also on HBO Max now.
Yeah, I'm actually looking through my phone because there was like an app and like I'm not really finding the app right now.
Mm. But yeah, it was worth it. I mean, then there was like this whole like weird like epilogue part that was like Batman's dream.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that was really strange. I mean, there is some cool characters that come in the movie that show up um, in that epilogue part. I'm not going to spoil, but honestly, it feels like a lot of what he's trying to do is he was trying to really like say like this is what you would get if you bring me back for another movie. And I hope he gets to make another movie because I do think in a lot of ways that he did take a lot of the criticism that he's gotten for the other movies and worked on it in this movie. Um, like I feel like people say that he's like he's too like edgy all the
Mm-hmm.
time,
Yeah.
and nothing in this movie seemed like super edge lord. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they've also said that he's I'm trying to think what what you would say. Um, I guess they say that like his portrayal of women in movies aren't like the best or whatever.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, it's kind of funny because there's a scene that um is that he totally took out that was in the Josh Whedon version.
Mm-hmm.
That everybody would have assumed that that was his scene, but it wasn't.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think he did take a lot of the criticism and put it into this, and I think it's better for it. So, I really would be interested in seeing what he would do with another movie. I mean, I think Batman versus Superman has some extremely corny parts, and
Yeah.
I didn't think that overall was a amazing movie.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So, and the first Superman movie I thought was pretty good, but I could see why there's parts in it that people don't like.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, but like DC movies, it's always like there's like a struggle somewhere, with that. I just don't get it. Like the DC cartoons, they're top tier. Like they beat
Yeah.
Marvel cartoons for the most part, besides Spider-Man. Um, but the in terms of like the movie extended universe and stuff, it's like for some reason like Marvel just I don't know they seem to really have the writers down. Um, Granted, I don't know when like Disney started to acquire all Marvel products. Maybe like they're just hoarding the writers just for their stuff, and like maybe DC is having some trouble because like I mean like
Well, the next Suicide Squad movie is going to be done by James Gunn, so we'll see if it's good.
oh yeah, true, yeah that
Um, there's that movie is going to be really interesting because there is so many freaking characters in that movie. Like,
yeah.
I don't know why they have so many characters in one movie.
Is Batfleck back?
So apparently he's going to be in the Flash movie.
Hmm.
I'm surprised that they're still making that. I thought there was a whole controversy against that Ezra guy.
So because of the whole Ezra versus Grant Gustin thing.
No, I thought there was a controversy. I thought he had like beaten a woman or something in real
Oh,
life or beat somebody up. I don't
really?
know. Yeah, that's what I heard. There is some
Yeah.
controversy surrounding him, and I thought that movie was just never going to come out. But apparently that movie is coming out, and it is going to have Batfleck in it, and they're
Mhm.
also getting Michael Keaton back in it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
The
so
old
I
school.
guess you can already tell what's going to happen if Michael Keaton's going to somehow show up as Batman.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. It's kind of like what the Flash did with like in the TV show when
Yeah.
they did the multiverse thing.
Yeah, which I still haven't seen. I still need to finish watching that show, man.
Is it a? Do you know what happens?
No, I don't know. So I don't want to know. I really need to finish watching. Like, I think I'm only like one season of Arrow away and one season of Flash away from that point. So I just need to finish watching those.
Yeah, I
So
don't know, for whatever reason, it's like after the Infinite Crisis, like I just haven't watched any of the shows.
the biggest problem with those shows to me is I mean, I love it because I'm a fan of DC and I loved it then,
Mhm.
but now I realize the biggest problem is that there are 26 something episodes. There are too many episodes. They just
Yeah,
need to short and I think some of the the last season of Arrow was shorter, but like they needed to be shorter the whole time. I feel
yeah,
like because there's too much filler.
yeah. No, I mean, like, so there's the issue with filler, but there's also another issue where they're like, we're gonna do one villain a season kind of thing, one main villain a season kind of thing. Like, I think
Yeah.
like they should be, or they should have been open to the possibility of having like two villains, main
Mhm.
villains per season, and have like, because like, and this was kind of the downfall of season four. Like season four of Arrow, I think everybody is like, it's like universal that like season four of Arrow was like the worst season of that show, just because like there were so many flaws. Like they made the and it all had to do with like the villain of that series, Damien Dark.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
because like when they opened it up, he was already way overpowered. Like they just couldn't like get him down, and then they take the totem or that like artifact away from him far enough, and like once like he like lost his powers, Oliver like took him down in like two or three hits. And then like so this was before like so just with that totem he was like really unbeatable, and like apparently as more people die he's supposed to grow stronger, and a nuke landed on like a town which had like I don't know like 10,000 people are in it or 100,000 people are in it or something. And that basically should have made him like way overpowered, and like the way they ended the season by just like the people apparently like their positivity like uh, canceling out like the 10,000 people, like it was just stupid. And then like okay, so those people cancel out his powers, then it's like, oh, he has his league training and that's why there's like this huge fight sequence. Well, where was his league training in the midway point when he lost the power and Oliver took him down in three shots? Like the power leveling of Damien Dark in that fourth season was just awful. Like it was just like, oh. And then they rushed the ending of season three. Like they rushed the ending of that season. Like man, it was just. That's why like season four, everybody universally hates season
Yeah.
four. Um,
I just hate how long they stretch out these things. It's just like, all right, it's gonna, they always make it seem like, all right, how much more can there be? And then like it just keeps going on and on and on and then and then I do feel it is cool how they're all connected, but then like if you have two shows that I mean, I'm not, I mean, it's even more of a chore because you're like, oh shit, I gotta finish all the Flash and I gotta finish all of Arrow. I mean, those are my two favorite ones. But like, if you're
yeah,
really hardcore, you're like, okay, well, I gotta finish all the other 15 shows they have because they all tie in.
yeah.
It, it's too much of a time sink.
I do think they do a really good job of making this isolated within itself.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I will finish it eventually. I mean, we might
yeah,
go back anyway since we are kind of in a DC mood. Um,
yeah.
but yeah.
I think
Um,
once I finish New Girl, that might be the next thing I might do is finally catch up with the Flash.
I yeah, I don't even I think I'm like midway on both through like a season. I don't even remember what season I'm on. So
Yeah,
All right. Well, I guess we'll get into the episode now. Like we said earlier, this is episode 27. My title is called The Blitzkrieg.
So my title is called I Won't Die, Fierce Battle, Luffy versus Kreig.
Okay. So this episode opens with Luffy screaming and wondering what he's going to do without a mask, as one is thrown into the ship and he puts it on. We see Krieg saying at last it's all his as the explosion hits the ship. He then realizes that he's gotten a gas mask, but he doesn't know how. Like Luffy realizes that. He's like, well, how did I get the mask? The other pirates of Zeph's crew who jumped into the water are looking onwards and can't believe it's really gas. They begin to worry about Sanji and Luffy as the gas begins to clear. When we then realize that Gin had given the mask to Luffy at the last second, and Krieg walks aboard and tells him that he's a fool. We see Gin's eyes all whited out and that he's, really suffering. Seems like he's having a hard time breathing. Sanji looks pissed and tells Gin he should have never been loyal to Krieg. Krieg says that he has to take care of Gin for betraying him. The other pirates of Krieg's crew start talking about how Gin had saved them in the past and how it'd be crazy for Krieg to let him go. Is that pretty much what's happened up to this point?
So Gain's face, was it like purple?
Yeah, it was like purplish. Yeah.
Okay, something like where he was suffering to get air, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like yeah, I mean obviously like Four Kids doesn't have blood, and like ours does have blood. Like Gain is just like filled, she's just like blood everywhere, face is like all purple, he's struggling to breathe. Sanji is also like all like bloody up and stuff, but yeah, same thing. So a lot of the same kind of like that way, yeah.
Okay. Yes. Then Sanji asked Patty to go get some like antidote from the kitchen that they use for food poisoning.
Yep.
Zeph tells him to put on the mask so he can breathe some, and he will go get the antidote and bring it to the ship, or bring him into the ship. Luffy tells Gin to stay strong, and he will take care of Krieg, as Gin is heard saying through his mask to stop. Sanji then tells him to stop as well, but Luffy rushes in for an attack. At this point, we see more of the balls hit the water, and cause like smoke, and then he sends in some more bullet darts towards Luffy.
Mhm.
Luffy then dodges some of them, but then gets hit and begins the Gum Gum Punch. As everyone else realizes Krieg has some sort of spiky armor cloak on. And Sanji refers to it as that porcupine thing, which I thought was funny.
Okay.
It doesn't phase Luffy though, as he punches right through it and hits Krieg's face with an uppercut. Krieg goes flying into the air and lands face down onto the ship. We then realize a few of the poison darts, which are now like suction cups, were shot from Krieg's gun and are in Luffy, and he's told he needs to get them out quickly. So are they suction cups in yours?
No.
Okay, yeah, so they changed them to suction cups.
Yeah, so straight up, like yeah, he just like starts shooting them, and like Luffy just takes him head on.
Yeah.
Obviously dodges wherever he can, but yeah, he just straight up takes a lot of it head on, and then he punches him through that spike cover, and he bashes his face, and then like he gets knocked out. And yeah, Luffy then kind of like just stands up, and like he starts pulling out all the stakes out of his like leg and arm and stuff where it like stabbed through. So yeah, it wasn't suction cups, it was just like straight up just like regular stakes that stake bullets or whatever it is.
Yeah, so it's funny that they're suction cups when he's pulling them off, because later on someone, I don't know if it was Sanji or someone, but later on one of them refers to them as being darts again.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
Somehow there's these. Somehow in the 4Kids version, there are these magical darts that turn into suction cups when they hit the skin.
Yeah.
Um,
And I think like it definitely plays into what happens a little later on in the episode, but yeah, it's pretty much straight up spikes on mine, but yeah,
yeah.
it's kind of weird.
So then, yeah, Luffy pulls them out and says only he decides when it's time to stop and to talk to him again when he's made it to the Grand Line. Sanji's then talking to Zeph, saying he needs to stop going on and on about the Grand Line, as there are, many worse people other than Zeph that he'll have to face. Zeph says that he's hopeful. He doesn't think much and admires that type of strong determination, and it takes a lot of guts, referring to Luffy. Sanji kind of starts to realize that Zeph is right. Patty and Carney start discussing what to do with Gin, as Patty tells them he needs some of his secret pudding. They begin to argue back and forth over what to do, as they realize that Gin is still breathing. Kreig's crew is now in the water, saying that Luffy was cheap by the sucker punch, as Kreig gets back up and says that was only round one. At this point, Luffy jumps into the air, performs a gum gum kick on him, sending him face up into the ship. One of Kreig's crew says he's never seen someone lay a hand on him twice. Patty and Carney then talk about how good of a fighter Luffy is. Kreig then gets back up and tries to attack Luffy with a huge spear, which he repeatedly attacks the ship with. Is this pretty much the same from your end?
Yeah, so one thing I forgot to kind of mention a little earlier. So one thing that Zeph basically tells those guys is he tells them to use the mask that that everybody used to avoid
Yeah.
the poison gas. So what Zeph tells them to do is basically take the mask, put it on his face after they inject that medicine to help with the food poisoning. And Zeph talks about how like the mask will kind of help him breathe the air a little better. It probably filters the air a little bit as it kind of goes in and stuff to kind of get him back. But yeah, and yeah. Besides that, yeah, a lot of the dialogue from what you mentioned is pretty much very similar. Krieg doesn't really say it's round two on this. He talks about how like he just yells at his men, talking about how they shouldn't ever count out Krieg and like that, and yeah, and that's when Luffy starts to do the kick and stuff.
Got it. Yeah, he does, yell at his men once in this, but yeah. So Luffy, as he's trying to hit him with that huge spear, Luffy then screams water, as he realizes this spear explodes every time it hits. Luffy is having a hard time standing on the piece of the ship, but is able to get back up and fight. He then almost falls off, but jumps into the air and latches onto the spear before being flung off. He then blocks the spear with his hand as it explodes and leaves him knocked out on the deck for a brief second. He then gets back up, and this is like repeatedly happening over and over. Sanji and Zeph are talking about Luffy's courage,
And
and
perseverance.
Krieg hits Luffy again, leaving him even more hurt. So Krieg begins to walk off as Luffy then gets back up and ready for more. Krieg says it's been fun, as Zeph is saying courage, not weapons, will decide this. Zeph says if Luffy can believe that death is impossible like Krieg, he can be strong. Krieg then hits Luffy again as he gets up and takes another hit. Sanji is now in disbelief, saying keeps getting up, as both the crews of the Pirates of the Water are shocked that Luffy keeps getting up. Krieg then goes in for another hit, as we see an explosion, but no direct hit on Luffy this time. As soon as the smoke clears, we notice that Luffy has mitigated the attack with his sandal, and we realize the spear has finally been broken, as Luffy says he guesses his spear is pretty weak, and it's time to end this, and the episode ends.
Yeah, so kind kind of get to that. So during the fight, and I think Four Kids also mentions it, but like there was this one moment where Luffy kind of flies off into this one piece of like the boat and stuff, and as he's like getting ready to kind of like do like another counterattack, kind of falters a little bit. He kind of like stumbles a little bit, and at that point, everybody talks about how like he's lost so much blood, and it's like it's wearing him out and stuff.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
like
they
a
had mentioned that too in this, that he's, taking a lot of hits.
yeah, and like yeah, it was just since we have actual blood in the regular like
Yeah.
where he lost a lot of blood. Um, and so yeah, and yeah, during the fight, everything is pretty much the same. But yeah, I guess like the dialogue is a little different. So in the regular dub, he talks about how like what he basically did was he basically punched the spear at the head 5 times, and which eventually led to it kind of breaking and stuff. And yeah, similar to after that, the dialogue was kind of similar to where the episode basically ended.
So is it not broken by his sandal in the?
It is. It is.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah. He just punches. I guess he just punches and kicks the head of
Yeah,
the spear.
got it. All
But yeah,
right, well, not much different other than we finally got a weapon change here. We got magical suction cup darts in the Four Kids.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I mean, honestly, they did a pretty good job on the suction cups. They look believable. I thought for a second that they might be like that. For real, I really didn't know. I mean, I did think it was weird though, because when they were, when they were shooting at him, they were pointed, and I'm just thinking, how could they all of a sudden turn into suction cups when they hit him?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I thought it was some crazy magic,
Yeah. I mean, I guess I could see how that happens. There are certain people that they meet later on. I don't know if it happens within the 4K realm, but like yeah, there are certain people who I guess like it's possible that they have some kind of special ability like that. But yeah.
Yeah, like like they had drenched the arrows in the gum gum fruit juice.
Yeah. Also, like, there's this one character who I think we like barely see later on, and for the listeners, they'll probably forget about this by the time we reach it. But there's this one character that we see. She has a devil fruit power where it like when she hits a person, like her arm is like chains, like handcuffs,
Mm.
and so as soon as she hits it, like it just like handcuffs them. So her power could be something like the suction trap, where when she throws it, as soon as hits someone, it turns into handcuffs and it cuffs them or something.
Ah, I got it.
But
See,
yeah,
yeah, I'm sure Oda got the idea for her by watching the Four Kids dub.
yeah, because yeah, I don't think he got that far, and then he was just like, okay.
He's like, "These people at Four Kids are brilliant."
Yeah, basically. Still waiting for him to use the gun hammer thing. I want that thing to be canon so badly. Like in the upcoming arc, I want
He
him to
needs
use.
to. He should bring it back. They should like have Sanji have a lollipop at one part too.
Yeah.
Like let's say like he can't get a pack of cigarettes, and he needs it. He needs that fix. He needs something in his mouth, so he goes for a
Yeah.
lollipop.
So there's actually this other anime called Gintama, and have you heard of that one?
Mm-mm.
So they apparently do like a lot of parodies of like other animes and stuff, and like One Piece is one of them. I actually legit think they made
Oh,
fun
they do
of
that.
this thing where like so one of the character, it's like it looks like he's like smoking like a cigarette, like it's like a cigarette and it's like light, and then one of the students was like, hey, you can't smoke a cigarette inside the school or whatever, and he's like, yeah, it's not a cigarette, it's a lollipop and stuff, and then he takes it out and it's like an actual lollipop. So
That's
I
funny.
mean, yeah, I do think like yeah, it's like their version of kind of making fun uh of Four Kids for doing the lollipop thing, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks for listening, everyone. We'll be back next week.
Yeah.
Bye.
Later.